I don't know exactly what we're going to get done today, but let's get started talking about the undo system. Um, I don't know what will be necessary to declare victory for this session. It's going to be a short stream because I'm in a hotel and who knows if the wireless will even keep up with things. But uh, what I want to work on is continuing to simplify the undo system and getting it into a place where it's fully serializable so that we can save undos into your save game and restore them. So for example, it's been true for a long time that if I'm in a level and I walk around and I move some things around and then I make a mistake and this guy gets breathed on by a dragon, he doesn't die for some reason right now, or not visually. I don't know why. It's a different bug, small bug. But anyway, I'm undoing all those steps now, right? And I can do different things, and I can undo those. So that's all fine. But, he died that time. What about if I save my game and I come back later and you might say, well, these levels are small. That's not an issue. But some of the levels are actually quite big and complicated. And so you need to be able to load your save game and still have all your undos in the save game and undo whatever you want. So prior to today, when we saved those undos, we basically copied the memory of the entities, right? And that was bad because, oh God, that was bad for several reasons having to do with just memory management and what is valid to copy and what isn't. So we recently, in the last few streams, switched to a system where we're copying entities member by member and actually comparing them member by member to see if we need to record an undo for that entity or not. So now we have done that. When we decide to save undo data for an entity, we save it as, for the most part, a well-defined sequence of bytes in a well-defined order. And what that means is you can save it to a file, right? And read it back later and get something that makes sense. You can, of course, save anything to a file. The question is, can you read it back later and have it make sense? What are some things that don't make sense? Well, if you write out the address of a procedure, like just the pointer to the procedure, which is what you would have in, for example, C or C++, then if you read that back in later, after you've restarted your game, due to address space layout localization and all these, address space layout randomization and all these things, your procedure is going to be at a different address. So that address is going to be invalid and you won't be able to call it, right? Even without address space layout randomization, if it's in a dynamic library that happens to get loaded at a different address, or if you patch your game and now procedures live in different places, people would never be able to load that save game. So that's very bad news. For something like a procedure, you maybe need to write out some string identifying the procedure instead of the pointer to it, right, and read that back in. For, of course, integers and floating point numbers and all that, you need to write them out in a well-defined endianness, which, for our purposes, we just say that everything in the file format is little endian right now because that matches the CPU format on most of the machines that we care about. And so if you want to read or write little endian numbers, that's just a mem copy, and that's much faster. Well, these days there are specialized instructions for twiddling the bytes around, but we don't have to use those. So it's just very carefree to read and write integers and so forth. So now, similarly to the problem with procedure pointers, if you have some asset that needs to be dynamically allocated, like, for example, a string or an array of whatevers that can change in length, then if you just naively save out that pointer, because that's the member of the entity where the array is stored, right? Of course, that pointer is not going to be valid when you restart the game later and load it in, right? So you don't want to save the pointer. You want to save the fact that it's an array, that it's so many items long, and here are the contents of the array, right? So the thing is, we already do most of that. So when I titled this stream, Making Undo Serializable, I'm not sure if we actually need to do anything there. There are some things, so the array handling that we had in the previous stream is just there for the editor's sake, and we basically just punt on arrays. We don't really do undo on arrays, I guess, which we should do eventually. But right now, the policy is that arrays of stuff don't change during gameplay except for a couple of specialized cases that for efficiency purposes, we have specialized undo operations for it anyway. So for general entity changes, we do not have arrays changing during regular gameplay. We probably will eventually. We'll probably have to write the code that makes it work, but for now we don't. And what that means is that pretty much everything should be serializable and unserializable, and we just have to do it. But first, there's still some weirdness in what we are doing because we have these mem copy removals that I want to do to simplify the code and get rid of the last vestiges. Wow, there's a lot of those. Get rid of the last vestiges of the memory copy way of doing things. We might go back to that a little bit later as an optimization because the reality is that if you're on a little endian machine, most of your entity really can be copied. And we're doing all of this just for a few exceptional cases. But most entities have at least one of these exceptional cases. So, whatever. But we're doing the most general thing that'll handle the most, and then we can implement optimizations later. If we need to, which we probably won't need to for this game, honestly. Any questions about that? I just blabbed on for a while. I didn't prep that explanation, so it probably didn't make sense to anybody. Someone says you can ask Windows to allocate pages with arbitrary virtual addresses and then copy your procedures into those pages. That is true. That also works for data structures like arrays. You will be sad, however, if Windows says no, there's already something at that address, which can certainly happen. You'll be sad when somebody tries to load their save game on Linux or on macOS and it won't load because you wanted a specific memory address. Are there any big endian only architectures in use anymore? Isn't ARM big endian or is it little? I don't actually know. PowerPC is big endian, but nobody uses that anymore. I feel like there's something that's big endian still that's relevant. ARM is little endian, someone is saying. Multiple people are saying ARM is little endian. So, any questions about all that? Or should I continue on to doing memcopy removal, which actually we don't strictly need for serialization, but like I said, it's on the path to making things the best. Isn't most of this already taken care of by relative pointers? You can just save out the string array directly after the structure and have the relative pointer point to that. You could, but that doesn't really save you that much because, okay, the only time that would really save you something is if you kept the entire file that you were loading in memory. Like if all your undo was packed into a file and you load that up as a unit, And then you're like, hey, the relative pointers already point to things and whatever. That's great. The problem is that you may want to undo a third of that, right? And then redo some things and add some more redos that you want to undo later. So you definitely need, it's not a tight memory package kind of a situation. You definitely need dynamic allocation and deallocation, right? And because of that, well, it doesn't mean that you have to allocate the array separately, but that's really the most straightforward thing right now, where we are. But there are other applications. So if you had an application where you were just like, I have a bunch of data structures, and after I load them, I might change them a little bit in place, but they're not really going to grow. That would be a good use case for relative pointers. One example of that kind of a thing is the type information for your program that gets saved with your program by the compiler. It's this tree of type nodes that all point at each other, but it can't be modified at runtime. And so that would be an ideal place to use relative pointers. We don't yet, but it's on my list to try that out and see how it goes. Oh, it's Hummus. Hey, man. What's up? How come you're not playing Spy Party? Off topic, any vacancies in the company? Not really. We're just small and we don't really hire people very often. Although if someone showed up and they were awesome and they proved that we really needed them, then we would consider it. It's okay to allocate specific memory. In Windows for save game, just put requires memory addresses oxab blah 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 to oxbc blah 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 free on the Steam page. That is some good system requirements right there. Yes. What are my plans? Opinion about Vulkan? I've ranted about Vulkan like 4 times. Maybe somebody can dig one and link it to you. Chris Hecker has gotten too much free programming out of me for his community over the last few days. So now I'm going to watch someone else write code. Okay. That's legit. Do you mean like programming as in computer programming or programming as in media scheduled programming? Okay. So we want to get rid of some of these mem copies. And what I said before was that the easiest one to get rid of is going to be these. Because, remember, we have an old entity and a new entity. I don't have my eye tracker today, man, because I'm in a hotel. I should have brought it. It'll actually fit on a laptop. So you have an old entity and a new entity, and we determine if they differ. If they do differ, then the diff data comes back in the string builder, right? And then we go and we do these mem copies to copy stuff from the new entity into the old entity, both in the derived data and the base class, right? But all of this doesn't really matter because, like I said before in a previous stream, we can maybe pass a parameter to entities differ that says, hey, just after you diff things, change the old one, right? So we're going to do that, and we're going to get rid of these mem copies anyway. So we're going to say true here. That true means yes, set the new member to the old member. Now the question is, what's the best way to do that? I wonder if we have a copy slot. Yeah. See, we already have this copy slot thing that, based on what the type is of the thing, because we need to be able to clone entities sometimes, right? Like if you're in the editor and you copy and paste an entity, we need to be able to make a new entity, and whatever privately allocated resources just need to be there. But also in gameplay, we need to clone entities sometimes, right? So we have this copy slot already, so all we need to do is, if a slot differs, we call it on that. So I think this was in serialize. Entities differ. What should I call it? I'm thinking like overwrite A or modify A or copy B into A. We're being very specific about what we do. And we'll just pass that here, since that seems to be our workhorse. So slots differ. It's got a lot of parameters. Maybe I'm starting to be uneasy about how many parameters we're passing if we want this to be fast, but whatever. So we put the n bytes into endian swap, and we say if copy B into A, copy slot B item A item. This isn't the fastest thing necessarily, because here metadata slot is the thing that gives us the address. We're calling it here and we're calling it here. We could maybe inline this here, but in reality, I don't think we're going to do this operation very often. So I don't really think it's something we need to optimize. And I'm just sort of pasting this before every return true. Well, so now we may need to change other calls to entities differ, right? So this one we're not doing anything yet. We're not going to copy B into A. Well, who knows if that worked? I certainly don't. Well, I'm able to undo. What was our one that we had problems? So the one that we had problems with the other day was Heroes, was it 319? Yep. So this one, we had our funny so I'm going to undo a little bit, and then, oh, those are still charmable. I don't know. I mean, it looks to me like it works. You all know what that means. This was a major enough change that we need to write a test, is what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? Do you know what the rock is cooking? It looks fine. So at times like this, we do the following thing. Any questions about what's going on? Oh, I also I fix things so that not that many levels are going to fail anymore, because you know, we used to have about 9 levels fail. That included things in drafts that shouldn't be being tested, and it included 1 or 2 things where the recording looked wrong. So we should only, if this is working, have about 2 things fail. If it's not working, then we probably crash or have a lot of fails. I hope you guys have good desktop audio. Programming like computer programming, running a tournament manager for Spy Party that can parse replays and understanding, etc. Like mention, I've been hosting Spy stream. Okay, well I think you should charge Chris lots and lots of money for that service. Or at least tacos or something. Do you eat tacos or only hummus? I don't know. I need to re-record this because I should be able to solve this level in many fewer moves, but didn't. So it takes like a minute to go through the replay. I kind of feel like this is working, but let's let it play all the way out. I want to turn down my music so that you don't get much feedback through the microphone. These levels are starting to look pretty good. It's starting to look like a game, isn't it? Starting to look like a game. Oh, Maxwell Perlman's here too. Everybody's here today. Will it support VR? I don't know. Tacos are cool and good. Well, good. What if it's a taco with hummus in it? How would that be? Yeah, I need to speed up the replay speed at some point. Maybe we can momentarily turn VSync off for that so that we get higher than 60 frames. Or maybe we just speed up the speedometer. The thing is, because we still haven't fixed 100% of the timing issues on levels, the levels with timing elements might break if I play them back radically different speeds, but that should get fixed this week or next week. But yeah, I would like for the testing to not take as long, even though that means we don't have to hear all the good songs. Start the song at a random timestamp, maybe. How many characters are in this game? Several. Will this game have a story? I mean, it'll have environmental story. The degree of explicit story that we put in is to be determined. Did we spend a lot of time, money on marketing Braid or the witness, and how much do you expect to spend on Sokova? Almost no time or money for Braid. For witness, we spent about $50,000. We didn't get that far through dangerous business. In part because we're testing fewer levels. Because, okay, one level failed, Faith Cliff. And that's because it has timed elements with people falling, and we have to fix this. At least I assume that's what the problem is. I don't actually know. We just have to add more levels so that you can hear the rest of Dangerous Business. That's what I think. Does engine code for Sokoban go into the unannounced game as well? Probably not. The two games are very, very different. Thank you, Windows, for saying this every hour and not giving me any other option. How much do we expect to spend on Sokoban? I have no idea. No idea. Games are expensive. Games are expensive. Okay, so that worked. I mean, we ran this whole damn thing. 134 levels succeeded. 1 failed. That's a pretty good ratio. Ship it. All right. What else can we get rid of in terms of memcopy? Okay, we've got entity creation. Let's try to get rid of this one. So this one's a little bit different. Wait. I just went to the wrong place. We can also try to get rid of this one. So here we have an entity change, and we have a diff, and we want to apply, so we apply the diff to our entity. Now I believe that given the invariant that old E was equal to E before we apply the diff, then instead of doing all this memcopy stuff, we can apply the same diff to old E. And for special bonus, we can assert right? I can assert beforehand and afterward that these do not differ. Hopefully that doesn't go off. That's going to be temporary. So we assert that they're not different. We apply the same diff to both entities. If they weren't different before, they shouldn't be different afterward. I'm actually not sure that they won't be different before. But we'll see. We'll see if there's some reason why I'm wrong about this. Ever paren expected. Oh, yes, we need to have parens. See what happens there. Do. Let's start out on a less weird level than this. Hey, I was able to undo. Those asserts didn't fire. Oh, now they did. Maybe because it involves a creation. Which one fired? 598. The first one. Do. Oh, actually, okay, no, this is even better. If we want these to be the same, we don't even care about the state beforehand, right? We don't even need to apply the same diff. We just say call entities differ from old E to E with our dummy builder, because we're going to throw away the data, and true, right? True means make these the same, right? So we don't even need to apply the diff. We just make these the same. That's what I was thinking the other day. It's even simpler. Even simpler. Okay, so I'm walking around. I'm undoing. Let's fry this dude again, because that made us unhappy. And we're undoing. Test level. I don't know why I started beside a rock. That's just how things are. Do. All right, we're not running the full test. We're just doing a little bit. I'm convinced that this is working. Let's go to Heroes 318. No, 319. And test this one. It's all working, man. All right. So that gave us more memcopy removal. And let's check that in. A certain amount of memcopy removal. We've still got a bit more, right? So there was this one. Wait. That wasn't the one I was thinking of. There's this one. When we're creating an entity because we're undoing a destroy. Except we did get rid of this. Didn't get rid of this. Oh, this is a different memcopy. That's copying the entity default states, which I think is valid. As long as we don't, well, that is the caveat. This one is not there. Okay, well, create old entity has memcopy removals and undo end frame, and those are it. We're getting down there. Okay. Create old entity can do the same thing. The entities differ trick. XXX. Actually, let's not call it XXX because that usually I use that for like things that are temporary, but this is like, this is me being serious. So that same trick should be able to get rid of all that code and all those ugly copies. Unless, so does copy undoable data do anything tricky? I don't think so. All right, let's try that. Oh, that really didn't work. That really didn't work. How come? Oh, and okay, hold on. Before we do this, because we're starting to get into territory, I was negligent a minute ago, and I checked in those earlier memcopy removals without testing them in the editor. And as we know, the editor, let's go to a less crazy level here. We're going to delete this because, well, I mean, it's working. Yeah. So, okay. So I wasn't that negligent, luckily. Okay, so let's build a debug build of this and figure out where it's crashing and why. Why? S mode for Windows 10. Okay. Do. Entities differ, slots differ. Wait. One of these entity pointers is null or something. Oh, no, because I don't. Okay. If we look at the definition of metadata slot, it probably reads the entity type field, and I probably haven't initialized that. Oh, and we also have to make sure that the base entity is set correctly. Although we determined previous stream that it is. I don't actually. I'm not sure what the problem is. Let's take a look. So slot A is wrong. So A's derived pointer is null. That is not good. I thought we determined that. Wow, we totally don't. We allocated it separately down here. Okay, well, we don't want to do this. And in fact, we were putting an entity in here by value in order to be more efficient in the hash table, but we're not really going to do that for now. We're going to go old entity make of unknown type. That is a thing. Where does that live? Make of unknown type. And I have to figure out the user ID. So this will just allocate us an entity, and it'll allocate us a derived pointer, and it'll copy the default derived data into there. It'll do all the things that we were sort of redundantly doing. And since this make of unknown type has to work no matter what, then we won't have these redundant implementations fighting with each other. So yeah, probably shouldn't. I probably should clean this up, but whatever. Oh, we don't need that. Okay. So we do that, and then that means that this hash table is, so we don't do these anymore, and we don't do this, and we don't even need to check the return value of table add, because the reason we did that before was because the table was storing an entity by value. Now we're just going to store a pointer to entity. Yeah, it's less data-driven design, but it's going to simplify our code for now. And this code needs simplicity right now more than it needs speed. So that's just how we're doing that. Right, we just say old E. We don't need to make a new thing. All right. Instead of table find pointer, we do table find, because otherwise we're getting a pointer to a pointer. Mismatching levels of indirection. Wanted pointer entity and binary operator equals. Okay. Well, oh yeah, same thing here. Table find, not table find pointer. Return value success is being ignored, which is disallowed. Oh, table find is pickier. Same thing here. Okay. Return value success is being ignored again. I think if success is false, table find will return the default value for that type, which will be null in this case. So I don't strictly need to do this, I don't think, but until we really well define the table behavior, then we're just going to do that. Deallocate okay, well, what happened there? Hey, we can at least start up now. It's better than last time. I can undo. Oh, but then we stop working. Hold on. Why did we stop working? I thought I undid. 1, undo. 1, 2, 3. Well, let's find out. Maybe it's something about some fields are being shared accidentally, and like sound effects go away and are deallocated, and that causes problemos. Okay. Remove old entity. Oh, you know what? I don't think we get old E from a heap. Right, it comes from a bucket array in the entity manager. Which means we're going to leak that. Ugh. Make of unknown type gives us an entity in a bucket array on the entity manager. If we think that's okay, we need to free that bucket, but it seems non-ideal. Maybe we want an extra argument to make of unknown type that tells it to heap, allocate, or to use a pre-existing entity pointer that we stored in the hash table by value, like we did before I made it heap, allocated, and hella slow. All right. Do. Ooh, bad news. Assert failed on 170. Oh, I typed in more comments. We're asserting the oldie. Oh, that's that old problem, I think. I don't think that's related. But let's recompile after that comment is in. Let's start running a test. See if it just falls down. Yes, it does. Bummer. What did I do wrong? Assert that types are equal is failing. That's a weirdo. Well, let's see. I bet it just has to do with destroying entities again. Okay, we do table reset between level. Oh shoot, we want a debug build. Just remove the assert problem solve. Yes, some people program that way. All right. So it's like as soon as this first level finishes, which does imply that it's a deallocation. Well, this is a valid type, it looks like. I can't tell which one. That's a guy. We'll ask that same question about B. That's an ocean map. Ocean map, take me by the hap, won't you understep? Ocean map. Okay, why is that happening? What is going on? They claim to be the same ID. And maybe they are. Just in different levels. And like, I think we have a hangover. Okay. We must have done this where we said table finds and we found something. So why didn't that cause us a problem before? Why now? Well, I changed exactly what we're storing in the hash table, but I don't know why that would cause a problem. Well, I really don't know. I literally totally do not. Oh, yes, I do know. Yes, I do know. I mean, I don't exactly, but yes, I do know. So, like I said, we're getting the memory for this new entity well, this thing in the old entity table, the memory comes out of the buckets in the entity manager. We reset the entity manager. Yeah, this is bad. I mean, we reset the entity manager, and that clears those buckets, and then when we load new entities, we can load them into the same buckets. And in fact, if a new entity has the same ID, which different entities in disjoint levels could have, it'll likely end up in the same bucket unless there was a hash collision. That's the only case in which it wouldn't end up in the same bucket. So that clearly explains how we get a different thing with the same entity ID. Now, the problem is we were supposed to reset our table. So why didn't we? Right? If we we're doing the beginning of a new level right here, undo mark beginning. Why are we finding old stuff? And why don't we call table reset here? Let's call table reset there. We're going to reset undo. And that should reset the pending actions even though we weren't. So that could be the cause of a bug a different time. And then we back up all the entity states. And we're going to say optional is false because we really had better not find anything old. Creating entities when we queue up those pending actions. Okay, something like that. Come on. Come on, what? We just reset the old entity table. Table reset must not work correctly. Or entities are more than one entity of the same ID as in the entity array. Either of those things is bad. Let's look at the hash table. So we zero the hashes, which is supposed to say it's supposed to say that there's nothing in the table. For what's it called? Old entity table. Handler.oldEntityTable.hashes assert it is equal to 0. The hashes should all be 0. And 118 still. So it's asserting there. Like we're finding an old entity. Let's just log it. Log print. Hi. Adding. Looking for entity. So we're going to make that real easy to find. We're going to do this. Okay. Then we have all this, and it's going to be 1249, and let's just go. It's in logs. 1249. Issued sound. That's suspicious. It is, however, the only 1249 that we are searching for. Okay. Well, let's try that. So we set a breakpoint there, restart. That didn't work. Why didn't that work? It's weirding me out. Sometimes our debuggings don't work. We're not in a debug build correctly. I built with the wrong key. All right. Wow, it's oh. I looked at the wrong laptop, which has a messed up time. I was like, it's 2 in the morning, what? Okay, so now our breakpoint works. This is good. We don't need that size minus header there anymore. So that's our issued sound, 1249. So now we go table find. What is the hash? Big number. Okay, great. We knew that. It's not 0. Index 41. Oh God. We're returning an uninitialized value. We don't return a 0 value on failure. Okay, so success is false. Old E is null. Okay, table add, do that, return old E. This is all as expected. Wait, what? How come we didn't print something here? What is going on? We just ran log print and we don't have another line. Are we not flushing it correctly? Okay, so it's the next one after. So we weren't flushing the line. So the high of the entity ID is what? I'm so confused. It's late at night. 12, 16. Oh, it's just 16. It's a shift of 16, not a 32. Right, it's a 32-bit number. So if you shift it 32, C++ goes bananas and does random things. Okay, so it's user ID 16, 10. And entity number 10 within user ID 16, or entity number 11, sorry, that's B. B, so we create an old entity. Oh, I was going to look for that in the log. There's a 111. There's not a 1611, but am I wrong about... So the entity ID is 0010000B. Okay. So we will find an old E now. Same ID. Because there was a thing there. It's a rock. Okay, so that just means we have two things in this level by the same ID, which is a data error that I guess could happen in all sorts of ways, like source control merge gone wrong or something. Except, wait, no, that can't happen. What? In theory, I don't know. I guess it could happen, but I'm not sure under what conditions. I bet I could force it to happen. Okay. Well, they're the same thing. They're both rocks. which means probably it's the same rock, right? So if I go old E undoable data, they're both at 0, 0, 0. Yeah, these are like the same entity, 270 degrees. Override Kohler 3920. Okay, I suspect, here's what we're going to do. I suspect the same pointer is here twice for some reason. So if we have something in... I just hit enter on Windows because that box popped up. I don't know what option that was. Like, it might have been reboot and erase my hard drive, please. God, just fuck Windows. I don't know. They're so pompous at this point. Like, I was in the middle of typing and I was hitting enter and it popped up the box and I hit enter and it went away. Oh my god. Okay. This is dot count. Oh, it's a bucket array. That increases my confidence that it's messed up. Because, you know, this is a custom data structure with a custom iterator. There could be a compiler bug. Let's just... actually, isn't it the first item is that rock? Let me just do this. Print entity array has... well, it index it.entity type ID of it. So we're just going to print those out for handler.entity array. No, manager.entity array. Okay. Undeclared identifier it index. Do we not get an index when we're custom iterating? Maybe that's fine. I don't care. See if I care. Okay. So it seems to end here, but then we get rock 111, but we don't print it. This really smells like compiler bug, honestly. Like, real honestly. right? So, like, what happens if we just do that? Oh my God. Here's the problem. Remember when I said that the difference between before and now is that now when we call create old entity, the memory comes from these buckets in the entity manager. Which buckets? Oh, it's the same array that we're iterating over. So as we iterate, we're adding guys. As we iterate, we're adding guys. Is it restart at 12:02? Is this confirmed? How do we know this? Can I shut down the restart service? Dude, I can't find anything in this giant. Look at all this garbage. Task scheduler. Oh my God, I want to do work. Why am I? Okay. Ugh, come on. How do I find? Is it under Microsoft or is it under Windows? There's like a Windows update. Let's stop that. Let's disable that. There's like some Windows reboot manager thing that I need to stop. I don't remember what it is. Windows Update Orchestrator Service. I don't see that running separately from Windows Update. Update Facilitation Service. Oh yeah, we got it. It won't let me do anything. It's running. It won't let me do anything. Disable. Access is denied. I'm sorry, Dave. I can't let you do that. God, you guys are such assholes. I can't even believe it. All right. Do I delete this? Why is all this stuff running either? So much Adobe. $112. Sure, I'm glad all these tasks are going to happen. This is really what I want my computer for, is to do all these tasks. You know, what happened to me fixing my program and getting work done? What, can someone tell me what happened to that? Windows action dialog. I don't like the sound of that. Oh, left-hand side has folders. All right. Good point. If anyone on chat works for Microsoft, just quit. You're not allowed to watch the stream until you quit your job. Just log off right now. Just don't watch Twitch anymore. Go watch Mixer, okay? Look at all these tasks. Boy, I am really happy about all these update orchestration tasks. Right here, reboot. Username S1518. What kind of bullshit is that? Oh, okay, I'm not on AC power. I've unplugged my power cable. And we need Google Starbucks 9 to be available. You need to have the Pro version. This is Windows Pro. This is Windows Pro. Okay, it's 12:02 a.m. We solved the problem by unplugging the power cable, which means that our stream is limited in other ways. Dude, I wish Linux wasn't so terrible. I would very happily switch to it at times like this. Oh my god. It's like I keep saying, Microsoft does everything they can to kill their own operating system, and Linux still can't take over on the desktop. Whatever, guys. Just keep doing things the way you're doing it. It's obviously been working. Okay, what even the hell was I doing 10 minutes ago? Right, I was realizing that I'm modifying this bucket array while... Okay, we got to get rid of all this stuff. All this stuff. So optional is false. That's going to stay. We're getting rid of honestly. Oh, we need manager.entity array. So the question is, in like 10 minutes, can I plug in my laptop for a second? Or like as soon as the power plug goes in, does it just shut down? When is the last time I tried Linux? Probably about 2 years ago. Okay, so remember that comment that I said about, well, this comment. We're going to change our hash table back. Remember all this stuff? We're going to do that. And we're going to do wait, why are we passing old E as an argument to table add? What? Oh, right. Yeah. So I want the hash table. No, you know what? Let's go for minimal change right now. We don't actually need to do the thing where we make this more efficient yet. We just need it not to come from those buckets. So we're going to say base is new entity, and then make of unknown type is going to say use memory is base. All right. And then we're going to add that to the table, and it's going to be by pointer for now, and we'll regret that and undo that later. So make of unknown type has this. So base is pointer to entity. If use memory, base equals use memory, else base is get new entity. Base.entity type equals type base.entity ID equals desired ID. Like, who knows what get new entity even does? Oh, the manager. Okay, it's all good. Compiler crash. Come on, bro. Well, we have some new problem. We crashed. Oh, hey, we're running now. Yeah, that compiler crash is bugging me a little bit. It happened last stream also. Haven't debugged it since then. Hey, we rewound. Can we test this level? My frame rate is like, oh, it's unreasonably low, in part because we're unplugged, but maybe also there's some Windows tasks. Let's like see what our CPU looks like. OBS, nothing too terrible. This killer network service always eats way too much CPU. So does Synaptics Touchpad. Like, how much CPU does it take to reach the trackpad? "2017 was the year of the Linux desktop," but I did not hear that. Okay. Yes, this is a Razer Blade. It claims 22% GPU. I guess that's all OBS. Okay. Why do we still have a high in there? Gotta get rid of that. All right, well, we appear to have succeeded. We can get rid of this. All right, let's run a little bit of a test on this. Maybe not the full test. I'm getting tired. It's going to be time to go to bed soon, and we haven't even done the official serialization, but maybe that's next stream. Maybe this stream is just getting rid of mem copies and hoping we don't reboot. Good night, Maxwell Proman. I mean, it's running. It'll run faster if I dare to plug in the power. The question is, do I dare to plug in the power? Okay, let's say this is running well enough that we can check it in. Although no, I should test the editor. Okay, that's kind of working. This test is still going. I'm going to try plugging us in. And if the stream goes down, it was nice knowing you. I want to get a little more of a test on this, and it'll go faster with electricity. If electrons are going through the cable, then the electrons go to the game, and the game can go. All right, we're plugged in. The little battery icon has the juice going up from left to right. We're not rebooting. It's working. I'm satisfied with this. All right. So, well, we can delete this. We're going to have to clean up this mess, but maybe we'll do that on the next stream. So what is this? This is the only memcopy removal aside from the declaration of copy undoable data. Let's see if any other files call copy undoable data. I bet someone does. Like clone entity probably does. No, nobody does. Okay. This is literally the only other call, so we get to delete that whole procedure as soon as we do this. Okay, undo end frame. Pending actions. Oh, this is the thing. This is the thing where we copy the data from the existing version of the entity. We should be able to use our entities differ for this. Right? Again. Maybe we should make a version of this that takes a null string builder. Ugh, what just happened there? If we pass a null string builder, then we won't be returning this dummy data all the time. Who knows what's going to happen there? We might be able to declare victory on this segment of the task. Can I code without touching the enter button? It might show me a dialog for the reboot while I'm typing a line of code and I'm about to hit enter, like it did last time. We fixed that bug from like 30 minutes ago. I believe we have fixed all the bugs. Yes. I feel like this is working. I think we're going to let it finish. And then we're going to delete that last procedure and check in, and we will be done. And then the next stream will be us actually saving this to a file and reloading it, now that we've gotten rid of all the weird thingies. Now, somewhat ironically, when I started doing the undo system for this game, I was like, I'm not going to just copy the braid system because I'm just going to do something easy and this game's different and we'll see how it goes. Well, the thing we've ended up with is not that much unlike the braid system, honestly. So maybe I just should have done this to begin with. Would have saved myself some time. How's the trip going? Pretty good. I was just feeling in Los Angeles today. Good. Is the game like 95% complete? No, I would hesitate to assign a percentage complete. I hope it's like 50% complete, but I don't know. Just doing graphics can take a long time. And engine programming can take a long time when you get down to little details. Hard to come up with the level layout. Some levels are very easy to design, some are harder to design. It all depends. Like, who at Microsoft is in charge of this update policy? Like, what if I was trying to give a speech right there, right, in a 5,000 person auditorium, and it just reboots on me and I can't avoid it.
Bad news. Telling the truth can be bad news. Telling the truth can be
Telling the truth to Microsoft can be bad news. Like the fact that they're so aggressive about it and they're such jerks about preventing you from stopping it, it's just insane. It is literally insane. Like the cost to the world of those machines rebooting all the time is higher than whatever supposed security you think you're getting by being a little bit strict about those updates. It is literally pompous and insane and totally out of line. Bizarrely, insanely, megalomaniacally out of line and disproportionate. And they get away with it because people frickin' put up with it. So I don't know. I guess the world is just gonna end. Do another small amount of test. And then we'll check this in because I think we're good. Someone's saying it's baffling they can't detect activity and postpone updates. I don't think they care. Dude, they pop that up while I'm watching full screen YouTube videos and like movies, and with VLC at least. Like, they don't care. They want to force you to update. They don't care about you using your computer. It's like some manager at Microsoft gets a bonus based on the percentage of users, like how quickly they upgrade to every Windows release. That's what's happening. Somebody actually gets paid more when the numbers go up, and so they're juking the stats by making it impossible not to update. Can't you turn off the updates? I did. They turn themselves back on sometimes. Like, you literally are not in control of your computer anymore. You can send them this stream. It doesn't matter. They don't care. They don't care about their users being able to use their computers. They literally just care about the number of how many people are on the latest Windows 10. They don't care if those people are using Windows 10 usefully. They just care that those people have Windows 10 installed on their machine so that the fucking manager gets his bonus. That is all. Good thing I have these cashew nuts, or I'd be really mad right now. All right, well, this is good. We're going to have our victory check-in, and we'll end the stream. And next stream will be saving this stuff in the save games, and we'll see how that goes. Telling the truth can be good news. Any questions before we go? Any ETA on releasing the compiler? We don't know. We're working on it. Why did I switch from Windows 7? Because you just have to if you're making games, because like stuff isn't supported, right, anymore on Windows 7. Game developers are forced to upgrade sooner than many other people. How's my trip going? I answered that.